Welcome back. If you've had your little break, I hope you are refreshed. If you've stuck with us, thank you so much. The last part of our session is looking at creating retail magic. So this is my favorite part, which is the sparkle and the magic and the creativity, how to create ideas for displays and presentations in your shop. The first part we will look at is excuse me. The first part we'll look at is visual merchandising guidelines, how to create displays, how we as professional visual merchandisers go about creating a display or a grouping, whether it's for a window or it's on a table or if it's a photo for social media. We're also going to have a teeny look at getting ready for Christmas. We are currently under 200 days to Christmas, so not to scare anyone, but it will come, it always does, and it will this year. And then we're going to wrap up with just some ideas for you to start thinking about in a few months about 2021, because that will come too, and this is a wonderful time now to evaluate where you are in your business, your customer experience, and how next year is going to be for you. So, recreating the magic of retail, professional visual merchandising tips to revamp your store, your presentation, your products, yourself. On the screen, we can see two almost fun images of this post-lockdown window display world we're in, using masks on mannequins, using the rainbow colours. But there's also a really beautiful image from a brand that I adore, one of my brand heroes that inspire me, which is an American brand, fashion and homewares called Anthropologie. I love them because their window displays are always about recycling and the world around us. And there's always a beautiful simplicity and a very emotional connection with the window displays. I love them. They're really good for me for inspiration. The photograph that I have on screen here shows one of their summer windows. Very simply, two mannequins dressed in summer clothes, blue backdrop, painted backdrop, and then a collection of what look like just lots and lots of little white wooden birdhouses. They're all grouped together and they remind me of either in Spain, the little white villages, the Pueblo Blancos that slide down the hill, or if you've been to the Greek islands, the white buildings with the blue sky on the sides of the hills, really gorgeous. Or on a clear summer's day, you know, when you're standing at the coast and the sunlight just catches the whitewashed walls that we have here in this gorgeous place that we live. So inspiring, absolutely beautiful, a very simple idea. How could you use that idea as a window display in your shop or a table display, or even, as I say, a little photograph that you're putting together with your merchandise for social media advertising? Creating visual merchandising magic, revamping your visuals. Professional visual merchandisers and window dressers like myself, we generally work around 4 pillars to create a display, and that would be theme, color, composition, and call to action. On the slide in front of you there, I've put some little inspirations. So a beautiful piece of driftwood with some jewellery on it, some pebbles around it, very easy to do, and it's done. It can be used for any product whatsoever. There's a window display idea for around gardening, using garden hoses, watering cans, potted plants, a dressed mannequin. Very easy to do again, and fun. With composition, we will look at how to lay out your products. The most traditional and typical one is a pyramid display, so 3 heights, 3 depths, 3 widths. Very easy to do, so I will show you how to do that. And then, of course, one of the, well, they're all important, but an important one, the call to action, which is telling your customers what you want them to do and what they will get in return. I always mention Alice in Wonderland. When she fell down the rabbit hole, she was falling and spinning and turning. She was disorientated. And when she landed, she didn't know what was going on. But then she saw, in no particular order, I can't remember what it was, but the cake which said, eat me, the bottle that said, drink me. And then she knew what to do. So it's that thing, the call to action. Tell your customers what you want them to do. come into our shop, maintain your social distance, stay safe, ask us to help you. We are here. So remember, the call to action is really important. On this slide here, you'll see a photograph of a shop from the last couple of weeks in Italy, where they are back to shopping on the windows, on the screen of the shop. Big vinyl letters, very, very simple. Back to shopping, 30% discount. Very simple call to action. Tell people to come in, avail of the offers, the discounts. So delving a little bit more into those 4 pillars. The first one, let's look at that theme. Now, a theme is created, generally speaking, around the retail calendar, all our events throughout the year, or it could be an in-house or supplier's promotion. So there might be something that's particularly of interest to you that you'd love to promote in the window. Maybe you are a cyclist and there would be a cycling event on, so you want to create a theme around that. Might not be anything to do with your business, but it's something that you love. Or it could be animals or shoes or cakes, my particular one. So whatever inspires you. But you also could have promotions pertaining to your suppliers. Maybe they've given you extra stock, some buy one get one free type of things. So that could create a display for you too. Tourist and cultural occasion. Again, what is going on with the local council? Do they have events that you can tie into? What is the feeling of what's going on in the area? Who are your customers? Are tourists coming to you? The tourists now, of course, will be focused on coming from certainly within the UK, but particularly on the island of Ireland. So think about how your shops are going to really attract those tourists and customers. They're visiting you possibly for the first time. How can you tell your story? Now, your story of your business, yourself, but your place. What is the spirit? If you look at Tourism NI's campaigns at the moment, it's the giant spirit. Now, there's loads of really great collateral and ideas around that. But think about it. What is your spirit? The spirit of yourself, the shop, your place. You've got so much fabulous stories in your borough. Oh my gosh, there's no end to the ideas of themes you could create. And equally, another way of your theme is very simple. It's the call to action. Welcome back to our shop. You'll see on the screen, there's a photograph of a shop that says, it's a travel agents actually. And they have just very simply in their window, the sun will rise again. We are all in this together. Very, very simple, positive messages. There's also some nice pictures on this slide that show very simply how you could create a really nice display with galvanized wheelbarrows or galvanized watering cans, and a very fun back to school window, which is very simply a blackboard with messages on it, kids' school bags, and lots of coloured paper airplanes all strung around on fishing wire or display nylon. A top tip, if you're hanging things in your window using nylon or fishing wire, use a black marker to run up the length of the fishing nylon, because then it won't catch the light. Excuse me, it won't catch the light, and it will be less like a puppet show because the wires blend into the background. So black marker on your fishing line, my top tip for today for displaying things. Colour, one of the other 4 pillars of creating a display. So we have a colour wheel, which you might remember from when we were back in school colouring in our colour wheels. There are 4 groupings when you're creating your colour story. Monochromatic, you'll remember the films of a few years ago where there were many shades of grey, although I don't think grey is actually on my colour wheel. But it's basically the monochromatic grouping is the shades of one colour. So on the screen, you'll see a lovely, easy to achieve display, which is using the bottom part of a mannequin. You put a little tray or you affix a box to the top of where the hips are, and then you can pile things on top of it. This window is I think it was a Louis Vuitton display, and it's all in shades of reds, oranges, and it's very, very simple and effective way to do a display. Your next colour grouping are the ones that are next to each other. So analogous is what we call it, but essentially those next to each other. So think about the colours of the sea, the beautiful blues and greens and turquoises, maybe those that go into the violet colours. So the colours that are next to each other on a colour wheel, so blues and greens, reds and yellows, or even red and violets, and yellow and green, to name but a few mixtures there. The last grouping, if you're creating a colour story, are those that are directly opposite to each other. So simple as anything, Christmas, red and green. Very, very Christmassy colours opposite each other on the wheel. There's a nice image here on the screen that gives inspiration for going through into our autumn displays. So think about crispy cooking apples and succulent blackberries, the crisp greens and the beautiful purples and black violet colours of the berries, a beautiful combination. Nature has so many gorgeous things for inspiration, so always look to that. Again, look out your window. You live in a beautiful place, so much inspiration there. Now, composition. When we are creating a display of product, whether it's a window display or a table display or a centerpiece for an event, we generally always go by the pyramid arrangement. It's the most simple thing to do. It's 3 heights, 3 depths, and 3 widths. Any product will work in this grouping, whether it's 2 mannequins standing and one on a chair, or 2 mannequins and a chair beside it with a bag on it, or 1 mannequin and a chair beside it, beside the mannequin with a bag on that, and then another product on the floor. You can visualize what that is. It's 3 heights, and then 3 depths and 3 widths mean it's where you're placing in the space. So have a look at these composition ideas. So pyramid is the most frequent one that we use, and it works every single time. On the slide, you'll see a grouping from, it's from Harrods Food Hall, seafoods. So you'll see langoustines and crabs just set in ice, and you can see the pyramid arrangement very, very clearly. They're at 3 heights. They're at 3 depths, which is front, middle, and background, and then 3 widths, which is middle, left, and right. That creates your pyramid arrangement. Hopefully I've explained that quite simple, but have a little practice yourself. Do it for your displays, for any windows, in-store displays, photographs that you're going to put on your social media. There are also other groupings that you can do in composition, which is step. You'll see that on the visual here. So 3 heights going in a step. Zigzag is almost like, it looks erratic and spontaneous, but there is a pattern to it. So really good if you're trying to present lots of products in a window, but given space between them. Remember, white space is your friend in displays. Let the eye breathe, let it look at each product alone. So instead of cluttering everything together, move them apart. And if you need to take something out of the display, do it and put it back in tomorrow and swap it for something else. Another group for composition would be repetition. On the visual slide here, you'll see it represented by triangles and circles. So it's basically just creating a group and repeating and repeating. And that will bring everything together. Equally, when you're grouping your products, there are 3 ideas of how you can group your products, either by function, by brand, or by color. Or you might have a mixture of 3. But again, if you're looking for a quick inspiration of how to do a display, grouping them by function, brand, and color will work a treat. In the photographs you see on the slide here, for example, they are very, very simple. It's a Christian Louboutin shoe display, and they are simply sitting inside. The idea is like hula hoops. Now they're much smaller diameter than hula hoops, because if you look at the proportion of the shoe to the hula hoop, you'll see it's not that big. They're probably, I don't know, they're probably about 2 feet diameter. But it's a very, very simple display idea that anyone can do in their shop. You can use hula hoops, get them for a couple of pounds, decorate them with colored tape, with silk flowers, with vines, with ribbons, with streamers. Hang them vertically and hang a product inside them, like the way these shoes are displayed, or hang them horizontally and you'll get a beautiful chandelier effect. And we use this quite a lot when we're decorating, particularly marquees or high venues. Creates a beautiful effect, and they're lightweight and they're easy to hang up. So that's ideas for composition of how to put together your groupings. The final little bit on this part is the call to action. Remember Alice? Eat me, drink me. What do you want your customer to do, and what will they get in return? It's been shown through POPI, which is an industry organization for point of sale, that including a message will increase the effectiveness of your display by 53%. So more than half the people then will act upon than they wouldn't have. So the call to action could be very simple. We're back, we're open, come in, we're delighted to be serving you again, you're safe in the shop. It could be, we know what Christmas is going to be like, we know things can be hard, we're having a savings club, join now. That's your clear call to action, join now, get involved. And you'll also see on the screen a little sign that I put together. I was working with a client who had a lovely antique shop, and people were coming in and browsing and looking at the gorgeous things, but they weren't buying. So this little message we put together synopsizes the item that you're saying, oh, I'll think about tonight. You like it, but I'll have a think about it later on. Will be so later today to someone who saw it yesterday and they had to think about it last night. So the clear call to action is buy now. You like it, buy now. So it's kind of fun in a non-aggressive, kind of sort of slightly cheeky, funny way to create that activity that stimulate that call to action, get them to buy. So remember, think about what messages you can include, whether it's you're putting them on signs in your window or you're getting the chalk pens that can easily rub off glass, and decorate your window, pop in your messages, put in new messages every day or every other day. Keep your windows alive. There's this whole reinvigoration of window displays at this moment in time. And it's, for me, it's so exciting and enjoyable. So I want you to feel that passion and think, what can you do on your glass, on your door? Whether you have space to do a full window display or not, you have that glass. Use it. Use that facade. Use that space. So to give you some ideas of what you can do for decorating, I've put together some little themes for summer and early autumn. Beach life, very, very straightforward. Use succulents, which I adore, as little displays in your shop or on your tables. Use funny puns, for example, advice from Starfish, seize the day, with the pun being on the seize, S-E-A-S. Make friends, not anemones. Like awfully punny, I know, but I love them, and we would use them quite a lot, puns to create fun stories. There will be a reference at the end of this presentation of resources and websites you can go to have a look at for further inspiration. Within beach life as well, cones, ice cream cones. Can you make ice cream cones out of fluffy baubles for the ice cream? Or even if you're doing making a big paper cone out of newspaper, do you have a bean bag at home that you could use as a splodged ice cream that has fallen on the floor along with a mannequin? Little ideas like that. Swimming noodles are also great. There's a visual here to show an optician's shop where they've packed the swimming noodles, chopped them up into bits, popped them into little buckets filled with sand and straw, and they just look like little tall creatures, almost like a pepperami man type of thing. Very, very simple with some bunting. Hey presto, you've got a lovely summery beachy display. What I would always say is when you are thinking about your displays, think about what's your brand values, your brand identity, what's passionate to you, and what's your philosophy? And equally, what themes and messages and topics would appeal to your customers? Because when you look at that, that's where you will get ideas that will resonate and images that will connect with your customers and with you, and create that warm, welcoming ambience that we are trying to achieve here. Urban jungle, another great, simple idea to inspire you. It can be something as easy as popping in a big, maybe you have a castor oil plant or a monstera plant in the garden or in the house. You could sacrifice a few leaves, put them into a really nice jar for a display. You could get them cut out of a paper, or you could buy artificial ones. Do you have any potted palm trees or dracaenas or anything like that around the house that you could bring into the shop? Pop them around the shop, pop them in the window, pop them outside. And window graphics, very, very easy to do. One of my tips for doing window vinyl graphics would be try and get self-cling window stickers instead of the gummy ones, because they're easier to, they're easier to put on, but they're more importantly easier to take off. Both work really well, but I love working with the static cling ones. So like do you remember the old tax disc on the car, the way you would just pop it inside your windscreen? It's that idea. Static makes the plastic cling onto the glass. So window graphics, very, very easy to do. And there's a really nice picture again here from Anthropology where it's very, very simple. There's a mannequin in the window, there's a little hammock, but primarily the window has a beautiful frame of green leaves in different tones, just to frame and encapsulate the story and to communicate the message very, very quickly and succinctly. So from urban jungle, let's go to escape to the country. This is a really nice theme that you can go for maybe sort of towards August, the end of August. It's getting into more our season of mists and mellow fruitfulness colour palettes. So gorgeous golds and yellows and russets of the joy of autumn as it comes, and those lazy Indian summer days that we tend to have around there. There's a very nice image here that has the word hope on the glass, just in vinyl graphics. But the P is actually created from from a sort of a display of butterflies as they fly off. Again, a beautiful sentiment for the world that we're in at the moment. Hope, joy, love, kind of all Christmassy messages that we normally hear, but I think really, really important for this new sort of communal culture, this shop local and buy local zeitgeist that we really, really want to connect with. Other little window display pictures on this screen, very, very simple. A washing line idea with paper or wooden letters saying sun-kissed hanging on clothes pegs, and some nice yellow paper lanterns and yellow paint pots and daisies in the window. And the other little display then is a picnic. Using a picnic hamper, little terracotta pots, some artificial fruit and veg, some gingham. Very, very easy to do. It's actually an optician's window, so when you look closely, you'll notice that they've made little creatures, little bugs out of small miniature terracotta pots and wire, and they've popped a little pair of glasses on them to make the bug eyes. So very, very fun, easy things to do. You could even make them out of, plastic seaside buckets for kids, and you'd be back to having a lovely beach life theme. So that was Escape to the Country. Back to school. For many of us parents, these are the words that we are really looking forward to hearing. A couple of window display ideas here that if you have products that are suitable for back to school, uniforms, stationery, school bags, lunch boxes, shoes, that sort of thing. Can't go wrong with being inspired by Scrabble letters. So there's a very nice display example here where we have in giant Scrabble letters made from paper or cardboard, we have the vertical word school, and then we have back going across and to. Very simple to do, easy peasy. Another easy idea is just get some large A1 size of whiteboard and put coloured sticky tape or scribbles or scissors, in this case coloured handled scissors, and attach them onto it. So you get a beautiful, almost like a rainbow, or you could have a primary coloured story there of stationery back to school. What more could you want? But remember, you don't have to just have the products for back to school users to create a back to school window. There's a makeup brand that has created, and you'll see the image here on the slide, back to school, back to basics. And what they have in it is a stack of books, all beautifully chosen in tones of reds and pinks, because their colour story is a monochromatic story. And on top of the pile of books, there's a beautiful red lipstick with the lids off the lipstick, and you can see the lipstick itself, the red lipstick shining through. They have a backboard, like a blackboard at the back, that says back to school, back to basics. And hanging at the back of it, they have a paper airplane with a kiss mark on it. So the red lipstick on someone's lips, and they've kissed the paper, and they're sending this love letter, this love airplane. And they have also used the pyramid arrangement in this display. So the three heights, you have the paper airplane, which is hanging up high. The middle height is where the lipstick is on top of the pile of books. And then the lower height, what they've done is they've got a paper bag. It's a lunch bag, a sandwich. So it's a little scrunched up paper bag and what looks like to be a fake sandwich, an artificial display sandwich in the bag. So there's your three heights. They've also positioned the little sandwich bag towards the front of the display. The lipstick is towards the middle, and the paper airplane seems to be near the back of the display. So that creates the three depths. And of course, your three widths. As you look at the display, you see displays middle, center, center, left, and right. So again, it's a cosmetics company, but they've used the back to school theme to create a story. So what could you do? What could you do for your back to school, back to basics story in your window or your presentation? So as we leave back to school, I had some ideas for going into the autumn. So I'm not showing you anything here about Halloween, but more harvest and Thanksgiving. There's two beautiful displays, very simple. One is has some mannequins, a total of 3 mannequins in the grouping, and there are big paper leaves in the colours of autumn, russets and mustards and ochre and gold and chocolate sort of colours. And they are hanging above the mannequins, almost like they are canopies above them or headdresses or umbrellas. But it would be very simple to create that display by using, again, my friends, the hula hoop and hanging it up. So it's a simple idea there for you to have a look at. One of the other slides is a snap of some table displays that we have created in the past. For the past 5 years, Creating Retail Magic has been really lucky to do the creative concepts and decorating for the award-winning Twilight Market in St. George's. So for this display that you will see here, this is what we created for our Twinkling Twilights. Again, very easily, a stack of books. We got them from charity shops, took the dust covers off them, and underneath you'll invariably find a lovely old-fashioned, almost like a leatherette style bound book, which look beautiful in displays. And we've dressed them with pine cones, some autumn leaves, and some fruits like apples. And we have used a battery-operated glass globe, a crackled glass globe, just to create an illuminated table centerpiece, because the Twilight Market is a nighttime market. Again, what could you do in your display that coming into the autumn evenings would create lights and attraction in your window displays or your in-store displays? There's also a really nice picture here of using coloured pumpkins and filling them with little succulents, whether they're fresh or artificial, and other beads. Last year we did a beautiful autumn display for an event where we used the pale green heritage pumpkins on the display. So it wasn't your typical golds and russets of autumn, but it was more like an ethereal, sort of almost like a ghostly feel to the event, and it just looked beautiful. It was really nice. It conveyed autumn, but it wasn't Halloweeny and it wasn't goldy autumn. On the idea of Thanksgiving, what I meant here was a play on words, not so much our typical American Thanksgiving celebrations, but Thanksgiving as in giving thanks to all those who have helped us over these last few months. The key workers, the essential workers, our families, our friends, our customers. The window display snap you'll see on this screen is, it's from Selfridges in London, because they've been really great. They've really kept on the inspiration and retail commitment over the last few months. And this window display, it's very, very simple. They have yellow vinyl writing on the window, stickers, vinyl stickers, in a sans serif font. So no tails, it's just very plain word design font. And it says quite simply, "Thank you for helping me look ahead." And in the window, there are 4 large boards, and there are sentiments on the boards that say things like, "Thank you, Mum, for the daily chats," or "Thank you, neighbour, for dropping in the food," or "Thank you for putting the bins out for me," things like that. The boards were created by the staff of the visual merchandising team in Selfridges, to my understanding. And what they were asked to do was, who do you want to thank? And this is where all the messages came from. So what could you do something in your shop? Could you have very, very simply, thank you for, and either create message boards yourself or with your staff, or invite your customers. Maybe it could be a social media interactive campaign. Invite your customers to say, what are you thankful for? And then choose a few of them and do up some boards. Get them printed, designed and printed, of course, if you can do that professionally, locally. Or if you want, just do them by hand yourself, or get your kids to make a collage, because it's the sentiment, the thank you. Thank you for helping me look ahead. Thank you for getting me through this. Thank you for staying with me as a loyal customer. Thank you for coming back into me. Thank you for bringing new customers to me. And thank you for being patient. So the theme is Thanksgiving. What could you do around that? And it doesn't have to be, as I say, October or November. It could be right now. October, November. Well, what does that bring us towards as we wrap up our session with you now on this occasion? And again, thank you for your time and attention. I love speaking with you and giving you ideas. So the last couple of things I'm going to leave you with in this session are the most wonderful time of the year. So preparing for Christmas 2020. Okay. A slide with lots of points on it. This will not win me visual awards, but they're important points. So first of all, be positive. Keep calm. Get ready for Christmas. URL is a constant. But customers are glad to get back to IRL. So what does that mean? Well, URL, web stuff. IRL, in real life. We just want to get back to our real lives and our real life experiences. So be positive. People will come back. And everything you are doing now to enhance that consumer confidence and the warm, welcome, safe shop that you're creating, this will help that. Customers are glad to get back to the IRL. And I asked you at the beginning to think about who is your customer and what do they value. So can you create a word cloud to inspire this? What are the key important words to you and to your customers? And how will your marketing activity, your window displays, your events, your little treats, how will that be inspired by those words? Create that cloud word as soon as you can. If that's your one thing that you do your cloud words. Could you redecorate your space? Do you need to tweak a few things? Lick a paint? Ticky up a few things? What can you do yourself? The sale of the century. Can you maximize the sale of the century? Do you have stock left over? There are things that you need to shift. There is an organization, an event that's going on at the moment I think it's called the Lost Stock Box, and it is a collaboration with suppliers who have had products made, fashion products made by factories in, say, Asia and that. And the idea is that you pay a certain amount, you fill in a form to say what your style is, your size, and you send off for a box. So it's potluck. You will get 3 things that will fit you, will be to the style that you said you like, and the money, I think it's like 50% of it goes to those workers in that factory. Is there anything that could inspire you around that to do with your own stock? As in, could you create a potluck bag to shift some of your stock for a certain amount of price? Of course, managing returns policies and that. With that other one, there is no returns policy. I think you keep it, but you're encouraged that if you get something you don't like, you change it with someone that you know. So the idea is getting friends together to get involved. So is there something like that you could do in your own business and maybe connect it into giving to a charity of your choice, some of the revenue from it? Your shop windows, again, like the ones we showed you there in Selfridges, they should be a bridge to your community. So how are you connecting? What's your message there? I mentioned earlier, could you host a private shopping session, maybe for 6 friends? Or equally, can you rethink your own packaging, your gift wrapping, your delivery service? There's a great story I heard recently, which was from a local bookshop. And he was trying to compete with Amazon. And what he was trying to do was differentiate himself. And he realized what was different was that he could do a personal delivery service. So when people bought books from him to a particular value, I guess, he went and wrapped them up beautifully, just in very simple brown paper and string and maybe some little leaves or pine cones, things like that for autumn. But it was a visual presentation. It's that unwrapping, the magic of the moment. So even thinking about your own gift wrapping or delivery service, is this something new you could try? And I mentioned earlier, when we're creating displays, myself and my retail magic elves, when we get together and we're very silly, we love puns. And a pun-inspired visual merchandising scheme will always bring a smile, whether it's a cringy smile or a joyous smile, but it will always bring a smile to your customers' faces. So on this screen, you'll see a link to the rightwording.com, which is one of the websites we use to look for puns. They have a quote there: the best Christmas puns that will slay the competition, as in Santa slay. So take it with a pinch of salt, and don't be cross with me if it's something that just makes you completely cringe. Great fun though. So that's Christmas, starting to get ready for Christmas. This slide here, my favorite, inspirational visuals. There's a nice picture of the mannequin legs with a box on top of it, inspired by the Hermes window we saw earlier of the red legs with the red bags on top of it. This one here, it's simply the bottom of a mannequin with thick black tights on it, and we used a cardboard box covered in Christmas wrapping paper. It was a promotion that we did as part of the Lisburn Light Festival, and it was to encourage people to shop local. So we had it piled up. The photograph you see on screen was the preliminary mock-up we did. We had it piled up with other gift boxes, with shopping bags, all branded with the Lisburn Light Festival, the shop local message. You could easily do this in your display. Doesn't have to be for Christmas. It could be, again, school bags on it for back to school. Things like that. The other window displays you'll see on this screen are this whole, I think, which will be really important for Christmas, the word cloud of patience, community, family, surprise, giving, gifts. Think about your own word cloud for Christmas and where your inspiration will come from there. Tiffany's are a great brand, I think, for inspiration, especially if you have little items such as jewellery. One of the, I suppose, the most common things, the house style of Tiffany, is that they will play with proportion. So on the screen, you'll see a beautiful festive door with a Christmas wreath on it and snowy steps leading up to it and a gift on the bottom. Tiffany's often use, they play with the proportion and use miniature size displays, so like a doll's house size, because their windows are often blocked up and you have to peer into the window. So think about your own Christmas displays. Do you have a doll's house at home that you could decorate for Christmas? Does it match in with your brand? Maybe it doesn't match your brand at all. It's completely different to what you do, but that could be quite fun to have a doll's house in your window. And you could create a story. You could actually even create a social media campaign out of it, where you take a little snap every day or a little video of the goings on in the house, and you create stories that way. Or you can engage people to maybe run a competition. You could have people suggest activities in the doll's house, things like that. The key message of all of this is share the magic of the season. You will see a window display photograph as well, which was part of the Lisburn Light Festival that we have delivered for the last 2 years. And our key message around that was share the magic of the season, and we create displays that then come alive. So on key dates, we get performers and actors in local children's dance schools in to make the windows come alive. For example, there in the last Lisburn Night Festival, we had one of our windows was lots of little moving hedgehogs and teddies and rabbits, little animatronic ones, and they were dressed that they were going to a ball, a masquerade ball. And so they were all moving and they were in this beautiful background. And then on particular dates, we brought a local Irish dancing school in, and we dressed the dancers as the animals. So they had masks on like badgers and rabbits and things like that. And they almost created an homage to like Riverdance, and they did this in the vacant shop window. So again, is there something that you could do for your Christmas inspiration and make your windows come alive? Is there something that you could do with a group of your fellow neighbours, your other shopkeepers, to animate your town centre? There's a really great town centre management team with the council. Connect with them, share your ideas, and come together to create that real magic of the season. And our final bit, first footing. So this year, from March to this point in this year, has been something unprecedented in retail and business in our lives. We never ever thought we would not be in our shops. We never thought we would be homeschooling or shopping as much online where need be, going to our local shops, really wonderful things, not seeing the sad things, not seeing our loved ones as much as we could have or would want to. But we are coming out of that in a very safe and controlled way. So optimism and confidence really are important. 2021 is going to happen. There are great opportunities now for you to take stock and reevaluate how your business is. What I would love you to do is, not now, but in a couple of months, come back, take a snap of this, have it on your phone, start thinking about what your visual merchandising plan will be for next year. And that ties into your promotion and all the other marketing activity. When we are creating our plans with customers and doing our mentoring sessions, we always think about, okay, here are the seasons and what happens within the seasons. So January sales, Valentine's, etc. for spring. And then you think about going back to your canvas. What is special about you? What do your customers want? So what is your unique selling point and what events can you do? What themes can you create? So this visual merchandising plan on this screen is really important for you. Do take a snap. When you go back, use that as your inspiration and your trigger points to get your ideas going. What I suggest is in September, October, review what the last few months have been like for you. Learn from your experiences. Do not be hard on yourself. You've absolutely done your best. You're keeping your businesses going. Done your best. So learn from that and reflect also on the behavior of your customers and your suppliers and your peers and all those who are part of your family, your business family, your tribe, your support network. Keep in touch with the council. They are there to help you. Always are welcoming. I'm ready to pick up the phone with you. And I would say seek inspiration. I've popped down just 4 little websites that I would use quite frequently around fashion trends, Trend Hunter, Instagram, of course. There's ones that I follow called the Shopkeepers, which are little snaps from shops around the world, which is just gorgeous to look at, really inspiring. And there's other ones like FrameWeb. They're a Dutch company, I think it is, and they're like a marketing company, and they say what's going on in retail. They're just the ones that I use myself. There's lots more. You could spend hours, of course, researching and reading on the internet, but they're the ones that in creating retail magic that we use as professional retail mentors and visual merchandisers. You have been really great. Thank you so much for being with me in this session. The last little snap I really want to show you there is, again, that canvas. If you didn't get a chance earlier to photograph it, snap it now. Use it as your aid memoir. Use the trigger points to jot down things and get yourself organized around this framework. It will really, really help you. So we've come to the end of our session, and I'm delighted to have spent this time with you. Thank you. I absolutely wish you the best as you welcome your customers back into the store. Do connect with me at Retail Magic NI on various social media. I'm always here. The council is always here for you as well. And Jelani will be coming back in to chat to you about that. But remember, be kind, stick together, and do look at recreating the magic of retail in your own business.
Yes, that was fantastic, Mags. A lot of detail. It's great that we have it recorded, so please dip into this as and when you want to. Just refresh yourself in terms of even just the build up to actually doing your plan and looking at your recovery plan for going forward right through to 2021. I know everybody has a lot on their plate at the moment, but it is good to think ahead, especially looking at those seasons and looking at, well, how can we as a town as well help you do that as we go forward. We have had some questions coming through. I'm just going to go through them quite quickly. Mags, if you can give us just a little bit more insight. I know you've given us quite a lot, but just a little bit more. And the first question was, in terms of going forward, have you any advice of how retail businesses should plan for the future? I know you've already talked about that, but especially if there's a second wave, what tips can you give in terms of helping businesses be better, in a better position in terms of moving their stock? I think that's at the back of most people's minds at this point.
Yes, absolutely. People are concerned about stock that they have invested in and that they've been holding, and now that they need to basically shift. So while each business is very specific, this is generic advice on good business practice. But what I would say in the first instance, follow all the government guidelines, create your safe retail environment, and that will prepare you for a second wave or third wave, as some people are discussing at the moment. Regarding your stock levels and your lines, well, we know cash is king, so as much as you can, reduce and manage those stock levels. So have reopening offers, sale of the century, for example, welcome back, lucky dip, stock boxes, as I mentioned in our presentation there. And think of other ways that you can just really start to move your stock. Also have a look at your suppliers and see if you can reevaluate your relationships with them. Hopefully you've had positive relationships with your suppliers. Can you buy now, receive the goods later, negotiate better discounts? I also do recommend having a good look at your online presence, your different platforms that will suit your business as much as possible. It's a perfect idea, a perfect time to do that. There's lots of support out there, and I know you and your team are there to help people look at that. So on that point as well, seek bespoke advice that is specific to your own business. Contact your counsel, business mentors, etc.
That's great, Mags. At the end, I will be putting up some details about our environmental health team as well, which really will be your first point of call. The next question that it's come through, and maybe you've answered this quite a lot, but just to give it again and a sort of like a brief overview, is what advice can you give businesses regarding their window dressing?
Okay, yeah. Straight away, create a visual merchandising calendar to plan your displays, your props, your products, your events, your promotions that you're going to do. We looked at that in this session, so hopefully that will be the useful tool for people. For inspiration, look all around you, look at what your peers are doing, look at Pinterest, Instagram, industry publications, like that. I really suggest looking at your window space and your shop frontage and using that as a communication tool just to reassure your customers that you've created a safe and welcoming environment for them. Make it a very positive experience, put positive messages on the glass, create your lovely displays, think about entertainment, think about even the word infotainment, a mixture of information and entertainment. How can you inform them and entertain them as you welcome them back in? And again, there are professional window dressing and visual merchandising services out there that you can avail of to get an extra little boost to your creativity.
And again, going back, because people have been sort of at home quite a lot, another questions come in and saying, I don't have an online shop for my business. Is this something that I should be considering going forward? And again, what social media platform would be best to start off with?
Okay. In a word, yes, you definitely should have an online presence. Those businesses with online presences, no matter how intricate or basic, have been able to maintain trading during the recent lockdown. There are many platforms available depending on your business. Etsy, not on the high street, eBay, Facebook, Instagram are going to be starting the opportunity to sell as well. So what I would suggest is get bespoke advice around digital marketing that will really suit your business and find the best way forward for you, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose I would reiterate that as well in terms of, you know, in the past council have done some e-commerce training, but if you want to take that a little bit further, we do have a digital causeway program as well, and again those details will be up at the end. So, and our final question is, we've all been told to, where possible, put in a one-way system. So what creative ways could that small business maybe use to implement that one-way system?
Yeah, absolutely. We've looked at that in our session there, but what I would say in synopsis is follow your government guidelines, clear signage, definite, definitive directions, your floor markings, use your staff to guide and interact with your customers and manage that traffic flow, because people are disorientated and just kind of a lot of people are getting used to coming back into the shops, especially if there's not a lot of space in the shop. Reevaluate your store layout. Look at what you can move out of the way just to create more of a clear pathway. Use your tables, your mannequins, plants, house plants, little trees to create barriers and walls to guide people around, and try and just keep thinking positive reinforcement. So positive messages on chalkboards, on signs, on t-shirts, on mannequins, little signs hanging out of your plants, things like that. That's how I would suggest you to reinforce your one-way system.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, Mags. That has been fantastic, and well worth getting you on board, because it's given us a new perspective as to how we look at not only just our shop fronts, but for me as a town manager, how we look at our street even. We can apply those principles right through everything that we do. I'm going to finish up here just by sharing a screen. If you do have a query regarding your business reopening, please do contact our environmental health team in the first instance. The number and the email address is on the screen there. But also, if you have any comments or any suggestions, please do get in touch with the time management team here at council on time.management@causleycoastandglens.gov.uk. And of course, if you want any business support, be that through our recovery plan or through our digital Causeway, please get in touch with our business support team at business@causleycoastandglens.gov.uk. So thank you all very much for bearing with us today. We've had a fantastic day recording this session, and we have another session to go online as well. So thanks again, Mags, and hopefully we'll work together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.